and welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. Today we're diving into a topic that's really important for anyone in their 60s, retirement planning.
Absolutely, Emily. This is a pivotal time for many folks, and understanding how to effectively prepare for retirement can make a huge difference in their financial future.
Right? We'll explore some key strategies to ensure you're not just surviving, but truly thriving in retirement.
Exactly. We'll talk about things like how to assess your retirement savings, the importance of Social Security, and some smart investment moves as you approach retirement age.
And, of course, we'll touch on how to create a sustainable income stream, which is often a big concern for those entering this stage of life.
Plus, we'll discuss some common pitfalls to avoid and how to navigate healthcare costs, which can be a significant part of retirement planning.
It sounds like we have a lot to cover. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it. First off, it's crucial to evaluate where you stand with your savings.
Yeah, and understanding your current financial picture gives you a clearer idea of what you need to do moving forward.
Exactly. It's like drawing a roadmap for your journey. So what are some key factors to consider when assessing your retirement savings? So Emily, when we talk about retirement planning in your 60s, it's really critical. This is often the decade when everything starts to come together, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people are starting to think more seriously about their timelines. They're asking themselves, when can I really retire? And will my savings last? It's like the pressure is on.
Yeah, and one of the biggest factors right now is inflation. Just look at the past couple of years. Prices have been rising for everything from groceries to gas. It's hard to ignore how that impacts retirement savings.
Right. So if someone has a fixed income, like a pension or Social Security, inflation can really eat into their purchasing power. I've talked to retirees who didn't account for this, and now they're struggling to keep up with rising costs.
Absolutely. I had a client, let's call her Mary, who thought she'd be comfortable living off her savings and Social Security, but with inflation, her expenses shot up. She found herself dipping into her savings faster than she planned. That's a tough realization.
It is. And then there's the market volatility. We've seen some pretty wild swings lately, and that can be nerve-wracking for people who are nearing retirement. It's like they're watching their nest egg go up and down, and it can shake their confidence.
Right, and that can lead to some tough decisions. I've seen people panic and pull out of the market entirely, missing out on potential gains. It's important to have a strategy that accounts for these ups and downs, especially when you're in your 60s.
And with potential changes to Social Security looming, it adds another layer of uncertainty. How do you plan for retirement when you're not sure what benefits you can count on?
Exactly. It's crucial to stay informed. With proposed changes in Congress about benefits and tax structures, you really need to be proactive. I had a couple, the Johnsons, who were depending heavily on Social Security. After we reviewed their situation, we found other income streams that would help them feel more secure.
That's smart. And then there's the healthcare aspect. Costs are just skyrocketing, right?
Yes, and it's often an overlooked part of planning. For many, healthcare can be one of the biggest expenses in retirement. I've had clients who underestimated the cost of premiums, co-pays, and out-of-pocket expenses, and it's really affected their financial stability.
I can see how that would be scary. What happens if someone faces a major medical issue and hasn't planned for those costs?
It can derail plans pretty quickly. I had a client, Tom, who faced an unexpected health crisis. Thankfully, he had a solid healthcare plan in place, but many people don't consider that until it's too late.
And then we can't forget about legacy planning. People want to leave something behind for their loved ones, but without a plan, that can get messy too.
Yeah, it's so important to have those conversations. I've worked with families where the parents wanted to pass on their home, but without a proper estate plan, it turned into a complicated situation. They just didn't realize how important it was to have everything documented clearly.
It all ties back to the emotional side of financial security in retirement, doesn't it? Knowing you have a plan can really ease anxiety.
For sure. I've seen firsthand how having a solid retirement plan can transform someone's outlook. It's not just about the numbers, it's about peace of mind. When you know you're prepared for the unexpected, it allows you to enjoy your retirement much more fully.
That's such an important point. People want to travel, spend time with family, and enjoy life. But if they're constantly worried about finances, that's tough.
Exactly. And with current economic trends like rising interest rates and potential changes in tax laws, it's essential to adjust your plans accordingly.
So, David, how do we help listeners navigate all of this? What are some core strategies they can implement to ensure they're on the right track?
Well, first off, it's about creating a comprehensive retirement plan that addresses all these areas we've talked about. It's not just about having a bunch of investments. It's about understanding how they fit together.
And keeping that plan flexible, right? Because things can change.
Yes, exactly. Regularly reviewing and adjusting your plan is key. You want to be proactive rather than reactive. That way, you can adapt to new circumstances as they arise.
This is all super helpful, David. I think it will really resonate with our listeners. Knowing they can take control of their retirement planning can make a big difference.
Definitely, Emily. It's all about empowerment and making informed choices. With the right strategies in place, they can navigate these challenges with confidence.
I can't wait to dive into those strategies next.
So, Emily, as we dive into retirement planning in your 60s, one of the first things to consider is your asset allocation. You know, that mix of stocks, bonds, and other investments.
Right. I've heard the 70-30th rule is pretty common, where you might have 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds. Is that still a good guideline?
It can be a good starting point, but it really depends on your risk tolerance and how close you are to retirement. If you're aiming for growth and you can handle some volatility, you might stick with that. But as you near retirement, you might want to adjust that to something more conservative, like 60-40ths or even 50-50.
That makes sense. So you're really tailoring it to your personal situation. What about tax-advantaged accounts, like a 401k or an IRA?
Ah, yes. Those accounts are crucial. If you have a 401k, it's important to maximize your contributions, especially if your employer offers a match. That's essentially free money. You want to take advantage of that while you can.
And what about IRAs? Are there different types that folks should be aware of?
Absolutely. There are traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. With a traditional IRA, you typically get a tax deduction when you contribute, but you pay taxes on withdrawals in retirement. With the Roth IRA, you pay taxes up front, but your withdrawals are tax-free. For many people in their 60s, a Roth can be a great option if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement.
Got it. So it's really about your tax situation and how you see it changing in the future. Speaking of taxes, what are some strategies to minimize them in retirement?
Well, one common technique is to strategically withdraw from your accounts. For instance, you might want to pull from taxable accounts first to avoid pushing yourself into a higher tax bracket.
Interesting. So it's about being smart with the order of withdrawals?
Exactly. And another thing to consider is the 4% rule, which suggests that you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually without running out of money. So, if you have $1 million, you could withdraw about $40,000 a year.
But isn't that just a guideline? What if your investments perform poorly?
Good point, Emily. It is just a rule of thumb. You really need to monitor your portfolio and adjust your withdrawals based on market performance. This is where the bucket strategy can come in handy as well.
What's the bucket strategy?
It's a way to segment your retirement funds into different buckets based on when you'll need the money. So you might have one bucket for short-term needs, like the first few years of retirement, invested in cash or short-term bonds. Then a second bucket for intermediate needs, invested in a mix of stocks and bonds, and a long-term bucket invested for growth. This way, you're not forced to sell investments in a down market.
That sounds like a smart way to avoid that panic selling. How do you decide how much to put into each bucket?
It really depends on your timeline and your cash flow needs. For example, if you expect to retire in 5 years, you might want more in that short-term bucket. If you have a longer horizon, you can afford to be more aggressive in your growth bucket.
And what about real estate? Is that something folks should consider adding to their retirement plan?
Real estate can be a great way to diversify your portfolio, and it can provide passive income through rental properties. Just keep in mind that it also comes with its own set of risks and responsibilities.
Right, like maintenance and market fluctuations. So it's not just a set it and forget it situation?
Exactly. And if you're considering real estate, it's wise to do your research or consult with a real estate professional to understand the local market and your own capacity for management.
Speaking of passive income, what about annuities? Are they still a good option for retirees?
Annuities can be beneficial, but they're not for everyone. They provide guaranteed income for life, which can be reassuring, but you have to watch for fees and the terms of the contract. It's crucial to understand what you're buying into.
Yeah, I've heard they can be complex, so it's best to approach them cautiously, right?
Definitely. Always read the fine print and consider working with a financial advisor who can help you assess whether an annuity aligns with your retirement goals.
And what about Social Security? How can one optimize that?
Social Security is a significant part of many retirees' income. The key is to understand when to start taking benefits. You can claim as early as 62, but if you wait until your full retirement age, or even up to 70, your benefits can increase significantly.
Wow, so it's a balance between needing income now versus potentially getting more later?
Exactly. It's all about your personal situation, your health, financial needs, and other income sources. Sometimes delaying can really pay off in the long run.
And how does that tie into withdrawal strategies?
Well, if you can delay Social Security, you might be able to draw from your retirement accounts a little longer, allowing those investments to grow. It's all connected.
It sounds like there are so many moving parts to consider.
There really are, and that's why having a comprehensive plan is essential. You want to look at your entire financial picture: assets, income, expenses, and what your life may look like in retirement.
And with all of this in mind, are there common pitfalls that people should be aware of?
Absolutely, and that's a crucial part of the conversation. Many retirees underestimate their expenses, or they don't adequately prepare for healthcare costs.
Oh, healthcare can be a big one.
Yes, it can be a significant expense in retirement, so it's something to factor in early on. Let's explore those pitfalls next. One of the most common pitfalls we see, Emily, is what we call sequence of returns risk. It's when retirees start withdrawing money from their portfolios during a market downturn.
Yeah, that sounds really challenging. I can imagine how that could really impact someone's retirement savings.
Exactly. So let's say you've got $1 million portfolio, and the market takes a hit right after you retire. If you pull out, say, 4% to cover your living expenses, you're not just losing money in the market. You're also reducing the principal amount that's left to recover once the market rebounds.
Right. So it's like double trouble in a way.
Yes, and I've seen this happen to a client of mine. Let's call him Tom. He retired in 2008, right before the financial crisis. He started withdrawing from his investments just as the market plummeted. By the time he realized what was happening, his portfolio was significantly depleted.
That must have been really stressful for him. How did he manage that situation?
Well, Tom had to adjust his withdrawal strategy and cut back on his spending, which was tough. If he'd had a plan in place that accounted for market fluctuations, he might have been able to avoid some of that anxiety.
That makes so much sense. So, having a strategy that includes both a withdrawal plan and an understanding of market conditions is key.
Absolutely. Another big mistake is ignoring the tax implications of withdrawals. Many retirees don't consider how their income can affect their tax bracket.
So they might end up paying more taxes than they expected?
Exactly. I had a couple, let's call them Susan and Mike. They were pulling money from their retirement accounts without thinking about how it would affect their taxes. They ended up bumping themselves into a higher tax bracket, which meant more taxes on their Social Security benefits.
Oh no! So they lost some of their benefits because of that?
Yes, they did. It's important to have a tax-efficient withdrawal strategy that considers all income sources. A little planning can go a long way.
That's a great point. I can see how that could complicate things. What about healthcare costs? I've heard that can really catch people off guard.
Definitely. Many retirees underestimate their healthcare expenses. With increasing longevity, healthcare can be a significant part of their budget. I once worked with a client, let's call her Jane, who thought she'd be fine with just Medicare.
But Medicare doesn't cover everything, right?
Exactly. Jane didn't account for the out-of-pocket expenses, like premiums, deductibles, and copays. She was surprised to find that her healthcare costs were much higher than she had anticipated.
That sounds stressful. What did she end up doing?
Well, she had to make some adjustments to her retirement budget, which was not ideal. If she had factored those costs into her planning earlier, she could have made more informed decisions.
So it's really about having a comprehensive view of all potential expenses, not just the usual ones.
Right, and that brings us to another mistake: poor asset allocation. Many retirees are still too aggressive or too conservative in their investment strategies.
Can you give an example?
Sure. I had a client, let's call him Dave, who was still heavily invested in stocks in his late 60s. He thought he could ride out any market fluctuations. Unfortunately, when the market dipped, he lost a significant amount of his nest egg.
Ouch! That must have hurt. What could he have done differently?
A more balanced approach would have been wiser. By diversifying his portfolio and including more fixed income investments, he could have reduced risk while still having growth potential.
That's a solid takeaway. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to adjust their risk as they age.
Exactly. And let's not forget about Social Security. Many people claim it too early, which can reduce their benefits significantly.
Yeah, I've heard that can be a costly mistake. What's an example of that?
I worked with a client named Linda who claimed her Social Security benefits at 62. She thought she was getting the best deal, but she didn't realize that by waiting until her full retirement age, she could have increased her monthly benefit.
So she left money on the table?
She did. By not considering her long-term needs and the impact of claiming early, she ended up with a lower income for the rest of her life.
That's a tough lesson to learn. What advice do you have for someone who might be considering when to claim?
It's crucial to weigh your options. Consider factors like your health, financial situation, and expected longevity. Sometimes, waiting just a few years can make a big difference.
That's really helpful. So spotting these red flags early seems key to avoiding these pitfalls.
Absolutely. Regular reviews of your retirement plan with a financial advisor can help identify potential issues before they become significant problems.
And staying informed about your financial situation and market conditions can also help, right?
Yes, being proactive is essential. It's never too late to make adjustments. Even if you're nearing retirement, you can still refine your strategies to better align with your goals.
That's encouraging to hear. So, what would you say are the next steps for someone who wants to avoid these pitfalls?
Start by reviewing your financial plan and ensuring it includes a comprehensive strategy for withdrawals, taxes, healthcare, and Social Security.
And consulting with a financial advisor can really make a difference, right?
Definitely. A good advisor can help you navigate these complexities and keep you on track as you approach retirement.
Sounds like a solid plan. Thanks for sharing all of this, David. It's so valuable for our listeners to hear these real-life examples and practical tips.
My pleasure, Emily. I'm glad to help. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics of retirement planning in your 60s, let's dive into some immediate actionable steps that folks can take right now.
Absolutely. I think a great first step is to really assess where you are financially. Have you checked your retirement accounts lately?
Right. And there are some fantastic tools out there. Vanguard, for example, has a retirement planning calculator that can help you get a clearer picture of where you stand.
Yeah, and Fidelity and Schwab also offer similar calculators. They can provide projections based on your current savings and expected retirement expenses. It's pretty straightforward.
For sure. And remember, it's a good idea to do this regularly, like quarterly, so you can adjust your plans as you go.
That's a solid habit. And speaking of adjustments, have you looked at your portfolio lately?
This is a crucial point. Reviewing your portfolio can help you make sure your investments are still aligned with your retirement goals. A simple check-in can reveal if you need to rebalance.
Exactly. And while you're at it, running some retirement projections can really help clarify your path forward. There are various financial planning apps that can help with that.
Yeah, and many of those apps offer user-friendly interfaces, making it easier for you to input your data and see potential outcomes. It can be empowering to visualize your future.
And let's not forget about Social Security. Have you checked your benefits at ssa.gov? It's a good idea to know what to expect from that source.
Absolutely. Getting your estimated benefits can help you factor that into your overall retirement plan. It's all about having a complete picture, right?
Right. And while we're talking about resources, I always recommend checking out some books and podcasts that focus on retirement planning.
Oh, definitely. Books like The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins are excellent. It breaks down complex concepts into digestible pieces.
Yes. And for podcasts, The Retirement Answer Man with Roger Whitney is a great listen. He covers a wide range of topics and has really practical advice.
Those are fantastic suggestions. And don't forget about tax software, especially as you start thinking about withdrawals and tax implications in retirement.
Great point. Understanding your tax situation can make a big difference in how much you actually get to keep.
And speaking of taxes, establishing a habit of reviewing your tax situation annually can be super helpful. You want to be prepared for what's ahead.
For sure. It's all about being proactive, right? And let's not overlook the importance of setting small, manageable goals.
Exactly. Starting small can build confidence. Maybe choose one action item each month, like reviewing a specific account or scheduling a meeting with a financial advisor.
That's a great strategy. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Just a little bit of progress can go a long way.
Right, and it's never too late to improve your plan. Even if you're in your 60s, making adjustments now can have a significant impact on your retirement lifestyle.
Definitely. Every little bit counts. So with all these tools and habits, listeners really have some solid steps they can take right away.
Yes, and remember, it's all about feeling empowered in your financial journey.
With these tools in your pocket, you're ready to strengthen your retirement plan. Let's recap what we've covered today.
Well, as we wrap up this episode, let's quickly highlight some key takeaways, Emily.
Absolutely, David. One major point we talked about is the importance of having a solid retirement plan in your 60s. It's really the time to take a closer look at your finances and adjust as needed, right?
Exactly. And we also emphasize the significance of knowing your income sources. Social Security, pensions, and your own savings all play a role in painting the complete picture of your retirement income.
Plus, we touched on the idea of healthcare costs. It's crucial to plan for those expenses, especially as they can really add up and often catch people off guard.
Definitely. And let's not forget about the need for flexibility in your investment strategy. The market can be unpredictable, so having a balanced approach is vital to protect your wealth.
Right. And finally, we discussed the emotional side of retirement planning. It's not just about the numbers, it's about your lifestyle and how you envision spending those years.
Well said, Emily. As you build and protect your retirement wealth, remember that it's all about creating a fulfilling life, not just a financial plan.
Exactly. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to take the next steps in your retirement journey.
If you found value in today's episode, please like and subscribe to the podcast. And we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment sharing your biggest takeaway or any questions you have.
Yeah, and if you know someone who's planning for retirement or is already there, share this episode with them. It could really make a difference.
And just a little sneak peek for our next episode. We'll be diving into how to create guaranteed income in retirement. It's going to be a great discussion.
Can't wait for that. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful day ahead.
Take care, everyone, and see you next time.